This video is an LED lighting panel that I made that I'm going to be using for my home studio as a primary subject light, and it's based on LEDs, programmable LEDs, the WS2812 LED, which, as you know, those of you who know those LEDs, they're programmable. You can make them any color, any brightness, anytime you want, and they're in a daisy chain that serpentines on this little plastic panel that I bought. These are 8x32 array, and I have 3 of them. And this is colored red, white, because I was using this as a rear automotive tail light demonstration that is showing how we can use LEDs to perform just about any rear end of a tail section of a car, and how we can light it up and make things different colors at different times and repurpose it. As you know, when you got a car, when you step on the brakes, certain lights are red, and they're always red. With this, if we're not using the red light at that particular time, I can use those other LEDs for other lights, you know, adaptive braking, turn signaling, and stuff like that. So I just repurposed this to make it a solid color, you know, lighting panel. Now it's based on the Arduino Uno. I'm going to switch this around. And on the back is the Arduino Uno that I put in here, and I've got a little cable that I can use to program it. And you can see it said lights, reverse, left, right, hazard, braking, throttle. That was all left over when I used this as a demonstrator. But I've made this one the red switch, the green switch, the blue switch, and an indicator. So I'm going to shut all those off, and then I can set the values to anything. So I can make this display any color, any brightness, but I'm just making it all one color. Now the thing about the Arduino is these panels, because they're a serial stream, you can daisy chain them from one panel to the next, and you only need one control. But the Arduino didn't have enough memory to control all the colors and LEDs here, so I had to break it up into 3 sections. So my Arduino sets the LEDs in 3 banks, but it does it so quickly you can barely see it. And that was not so important here, but when I was doing the braking back tail light section, you know, things were doing different things at different times. Maybe we'll have a video on that once the patent gets pending. The patent is still pending on that. So also on the back here, I've got just a 5-volt power supply. I originally ran this off of an 8-amp supply, which was only giving me 1/3 brightness. That was good enough for the demonstration, but here I wanted to show full brightness. So what I've done is I've hooked in, you know, my PC power supply, and I have 2 lights down there with it that I also hooked off the power supply as extra fill light. So that power supply is down there. Alright, so that'll give me 5 volts at 30 amps, and this thing only takes like 24 amps, so we got plenty of power to power these up. Your 5-volt LEDs controlled by an Arduino. So I'm going to plug that in, we're going to turn it on. Okay. And it goes through, I do a little lamp test. I wrote all the code for this. So I just whip through and check all the LEDs. And like I said, you know, I've got those 2 extra lights working off the power supply. That power supply also will put out 12 volts. So I can, you know, light the scene with 12 volts like old car lamps. You know, I can use that too. So one power supply is going to supply all the power for all my lighting in my studio. I haven't decided on how I want to do that. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to throw the first switch up, which is the red switch. And as you can see here, I can bring up the red level. Now it's a little slow because I have a filter, a digital filter, because the potentiometer is noisy. You know, analog to digital converters and potentiometers can be a little noisy. So to smooth that out, and you'd see the flickering if I didn't do it. So it's a little slow. So that's off. It takes a while. I don't need adaptive lighting. I just need to set it and forget it. And I can do green the same way. Put that back down to 0. And of course blue. Right. And the nice thing about this is I can click the red, set the red level, unclick it, turn the potentiometer to 0. Now I can turn on the yellow, the green I mean. So it's red, and I can add green to it. And as you know, in lighting like this, lighting is subtractive. It's not additive like when you're mixing paint. So we use RGB, red, green, blue. So red and green make yellow. Red and blue make magenta, and blue and green make cyan, like a bluish green. So you can see the lights are kind of yellow there because I've added green to the red. See, I'm going to remove the green and the lights will go red. So we're going to add a little bit of green to that. Then I'm going to shut off the green. Alright, I'm going to give that a second. And now I'm going to bring in blue. I'm going to bring up the blue level. And you can see red, green, blue make white. So when you have all three, you get like a shade of white that's going on there. So it looks a little brighter in here. It's just the way the lights are. It's pretty uniform across. This is I'm starting to wash out the video a little bit. So let me shut those all down now. So I'm going to go very bright white. Now I can go full bright white. Right? That's a value of 255 on each LED, down to a value of 0. Full dark. And the fourth switch is what I can show you. I can show you the values of the red, green, and blue. So as I turn this up, you can see I want my red, green, and blue to be a certain value, and then I can shut that off. But then I can sit there and say, okay, I don't want as much. I want a little more blue in this, so I'll just see now I'm just controlling the blue. And the lights got kind of bluish. You won't be able to see that in the video. So it's kind of hard to see because everything gets washed out, but I can see it's 255, 63, and 63 for the values. So let's let's bring that back down. As you can see, it gets less washed out, and if you control this right, give it a couple seconds because the filter is kind of slow. So it's kind of hard to, and a value of 2. So I can hold it any value I want. So I can sit there and say, okay, let me light this light up, and I get the color. I said, all right, I'll get the room the way I want. And once I can record those values, I said that's the brightness I want. I could shut off the indicators. And so what I'm going to be doing mainly with this is I'll be mounting this vertically. Like that. So I can, in my studio, I'm going to bring back the camera here a little bit. Back a little bit. Now you can see the light is vertical. And as a subject like that, it's nice because, people are, when I'm sitting at a table in the video, your body is longer than it is wide, so you need more white light vertically. And like I said, I can dim this and get the lighting that I want. And then I can say, I want to add a little blue to this. I'd like to be a little bluer. And you can probably see a little bit that the light got a little bluer. Again, it's very washed out. I have the contrast way down on this. So. But that's pretty much it. Go back to full brightness. Turn that down to black. Watch the values. Black. There we go. Alright, so that's it. If you want the code and schematics on that, write to me. Subscribe, like, share. I'll be happy to give you the design. It's really easy. It's fun. These programmable LEDs, you can display like numbers, graphics, anything. Thank you.